Usually in December. We end the month with Christmas. In the early part of December, there's a kind of a holiday that little kids kind of use, St. Nicholas Day, where you submit your wish list to Santa Claus. Santa Claus comes by in the middle of the night, picks up your Christmas list and goes home, and then Christmas Day brings you what you're supposed to get. Today, this is a little bit like St. Nicholas Day. It's not necessarily Christmas, because Christmas is when you open them and you know it works. In recruiting, it's only half the battle. It's just to get them on your campus. The other half is to find out whether they can play. And at our level of football, and I've been here a long time, in a couple different places, sometimes signing day, well, I know signing day is about a 50-50 deal. About 50% of the guys we're going to talk about are going to be great players. About 50% of the guys are not going to be able to find their way onto the field for varieties of reasons. It's more true at our level than, say, the Pac-12 or the elite conferences. But again, this is really the beginning journey for a lot of really cool dudes. The great thing about this class is that at this point, 16 of these guys are above a 3-point. They're very academic. We've done extensive background checks on all of them, so socially they're what we want to be. And the videotape that they presented, or that we looked at, you know, whether it's on the internet or in person, you know, stands by itself. And I think the one thing we're going to be able to post on our website is a video of all these guys playing, and there's some spectacular gamesmanship as you watch these guys play. So a football team that finished 8-4, that finished 6-2 in the conference, that graduated only a couple guys on a prolific offense, was able to replace some of those losses, but a defense that finished 10th in the conference in total defense now becomes the work in progress. We've done a great job here in 4 years of grabbing our offense and moving it to the forefront of the United States, and we're going to do the same thing now defensively. First time in my life in a 3-4 defense we've signed this many defensive linemen. And I think that's really the asterisk of this year in recruiting, and that we signed so many down guys to go along with one of the premier defensive linemen in the country, and Tyler Cooter. So I'm pretty proud of what we did in our D-line. Our linebacking core in this recruiting class, it has good width and depth to it. Also, a couple guys are ticketed to be frontline players right away. We have one guy that we're not going to announce today that we'll announce hopefully maybe later on tonight, that'll be a frontline guy for us. You know, I'll be able to talk about that probably tonight or tomorrow sometime. And in the back end, you know, we return both safeties. We return some pretty experienced corners. We have some two or three, four young phenomenal defensive backs that are in the program right now that all were redshirted last year. So in the back end, there wasn't such a pressing need to get guys who could be frontline guys. Yet we signed a guy that I think when you watch his video, you go, hey, I think you got him on the wrong side of the ball, because he's a pretty good player. The one guy that is missing is a punter. We have not yet been able to get to the point where we're going to replace C.J. Reyes. He might be the hardest guy to replace. We knew that when he played for us. We called him a witch for a reason. He had some uncommon strengths and abilities that will be hard to replace, and so we are not yet part and parcel able to replace all the facets that he brought to our program. I guess I'd like to talk about the Idaho guys. We ended up signing 3 guys. We actually are indicating 4 guys on our recruiting list here from the state of Idaho, more to come. Obviously, I think the headliner in that group would be Cody. He's the third brother of one family. Cody Graves, I thought, was as good a linebacker as we saw, in-state and out-of-state. A guy that could have an opportunity to play like his older brother Hagan played this past year, somewhere in the depth of our defense, certainly in the depth of our kick teams, and ready to go. Chance Salutregi was a teammate of his at Skyview, probably ticketed for redshirt. He's a little slender right now for a defensive lineman, but I love his height, I love his length, and as a former rodeo guy, I like his toughness. And then we look at Tristan Cano from up the road at Rigby. He was in our summer camp and has just tremendous speed, outstanding feet, a way of collecting himself and moving that I really like. He's got great hands, but his footwork is just really good. He's young though, probably not ticketed for an opportunity to play right away. The other guy that we want to talk about is a guy that's currently on his mission in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Garrett Smith is 6'6.5", 335, and hopefully he's been knocking on doors and doing what his religion asks him to do, and hopefully all the people in Edmonton have welcomed him with open arms, and he's not going to come back skinny. He has size 19 shoes, and his best football play is way ahead of him. He was part of a really good Shelley High School crew that played really, really well. He also played on the basketball team. He and another one of the guys that we're not going to be able to talk about today because we haven't gotten a confirmation back from him yet, are both very similar Eastern Idaho offensive linemen that I think can be tremendous players for us. So I'm pretty proud of where we're at. I like the width and breadth of this recruiting class, particularly on defense.
Can you talk a little bit more about some of the other guys that are on that list?
Well, yeah, I can actually go down the list, and I want to talk first at cornerback. Jason Miller out of Baldwin Park is a guy whose mother and father are both on duty LA County sheriffs, so he comes in with some discipline. But he also has tremendous athletic talent, not only in the football field as an offensive and defensive player, but he's starting on their basketball team as a small forward, averaging about 15.5, 16 points a game at a level of basketball and a place of basketball in Los Angeles Valley Basin where they play pretty good basketball. Trevin Alloway out of Murray High School is a young man who's at 323. He's got some strength and size. About 6 of these guys came to us in our summer camp, and the expansion of our summer camp, because of our outdoor facility, has given us access to a lot of guys. And Trevin was one of these guys. He has not quite totally made up his mind whether he is or is not going to go on a mission, but time will tell. Daniel Hex, another Idaho guy, a guy who was in our summer camp, outstanding player in our summer camp, offered in our summer camp, committed to us very, very early out of Emmett, Idaho. I've been in Idaho a long time, through all the width of, so I've never been to Emmett. So now I've been to Emmett, and we've got a player out of Emmett, so I'm really, really proud of him. Spencer Hoff's a junior college defensive tackle that will be a quasi-starter for us right now. Our down defensive front outside of Tyler is really a huge question mark. A lot of it we'll have to develop in spring, and then we'll have to redevelop it during two-a-days, and I think Spencer will come in with an opportunity to start. Robert Schwanke is a kid, as a true freshman, I cannot talk about him, so he's not on your list. Nico Taylor is a junior college kid that we think can come in and certainly will start. Regardless of how we go through summer or through spring ball and through summer camp, we think Nico Taylor, who played on a great Riverside Junior College defense, can come in and play right away. 6 foot 275, 285. He's got great speed and good hands and great quickness, and our defensive front is taking a step forward with him. And then Rashid Williams is a guy that he's also from Mater Dei High School. Josh Cook, kind of a dream and a hope that we could get him. He tripped us early, and all of a sudden we started thinking, hey man, we might get him. And lo and behold, I think much credit must go not only to Rashid, but to a couple of the other guys who were on the trip together. They stayed in contact with each other and kind of convinced themselves that what they saw was real. In particular, Rashid's family was very instrumental. That they've done a lot of sacrificing to get him to Mater Dei, which is a private school of note in Orange County, and then to have him understand at the age of 17 what the academic opportunity is here, I thought was pretty imperative to him, and it was really a unique thing for us that we were surprised, really surprised, that Rashid decided to join us. And he could be a factor next year, and he could also not be a factor next year because he's so dreadfully young. I don't believe he turns 18 until November, so I don't really want to play that younger guy early unless he plays for us like Skylar Phillips has done with the same type of birthday situation and done extremely well for 4 years. Braden Beckman's one of the leading tacklers in the South Puget Sound League in Kent, Washington. That's my favorite league in the state of Washington. The South Puget Sound League has produced a tremendous number of college players. We talked a little bit about Cody Graves. I just want to reiterate, we recruited Cody Graves despite the fact that 2 of his older brothers were playing for us. I think he's a dominant player, and I think when you watch him play on videotape, and they played in Holt Arena a couple times last year, Cody really played outstanding. A guy who's of the same caliber as Mario Jenkins. Now, I remember 2 years ago I sat here and said, yeah, we signed this running back out of Nampa Skyview, and he might play a little running back, and his name's Mario Jenkins. And it went on, right? I didn't say much more. Well, now here he is, freshman of the year, going to end up being a 4-year starter for us, an All-American candidate going into his sophomore year. I feel the same way about Luke Holloway, though. Luke Holloway at 6'3", 195, 196, very lean, playing a lot of basketball right now, great range, can play all 4 spots, Sam, Mike, Will, and Rush, tremendous ability, and we would probably not necessarily like to play him right away next year because he needs some strength training to get to the full potential of where he's at. because the one thing you guys are missing right now is you should see what Mario Jenkins looks like. Wow, wow. Mason Jackson's a really unique player. He played down defensive end, and we're going to move him to linebacker. He's a very long-arm guy who was a very productive player at Richland. He's a pre-med major. Both of his parents work on the nuclear reservation up at Hanford. A really good fit for us academically. A really good fit for us leadership-wise. A tremendous emotional player who plays at a high rep all the way. Jake Pettit is ticketed to be one of our starting linebackers next year out of Santa Barbara Junior College. He grew up in a small town in Northern California, Truckee. He's a qualifier out of high school. We just got on him after school had started, so we couldn't have him. Both he and Spencer Hoff are 3.5, 3.6 junior college students and high school students. They were qualifiers. We just got on too late to add them to the pile this spring. They will try to get up here in June, and both those guys would be ticketed for a lot of playing action next fall. The quarterback, Robert Quinlan, comes to us really through the same quarterback mafia that operates in the Seattle-Tacoma area. There's a group of guys who played college football, who run a kind of a quarterback clinic slash camp slash recruiting service, and we trust them. Sheldon Cross and our coaching staff is real familiar with those guys, and I know those guys pretty well. And when they think of Robert Quinlan as a guy that can really play, even though it's KV, he pronounces it KW because he's Icelandic. You know, not very often you get a quarterback of Icelandic heritage into your family, but he's got a quick release, a good arm, an accurate arm. No, he's not a runner. And our quarterbacks are not runners. They run onto the field to start the series and run off the field when the PAT goes. So we're not real concerned about whether a guy's mobile or not. You know, as Justin proved, you know, and both Kevin before him, it's about the ability to make decisions, throw the ball accurately, an advanceable ball, and move your football team. Ty Flanagan's a guy who A, was in our camp, B, had offers from Mountain West schools, C, is about as physically developed as any running back we've had out of high school, and D, scored 6 touchdowns here against Nampa Skyview. Has 2 full scholarship defensive players on this recruiting list. Both Salutregi and Cody played against me, scored 6 touchdowns on our own turf here in October. So a proven guy in camp, a dream guy out of camp. We didn't even offer him in camp. We just said, hey, it's going to be fun to watch you wherever you go. And he stayed with us. He enjoyed his trip up to Pocatello when they played this fall. We went down and saw him, and all of a sudden he's really interested. All of a sudden he's leaning towards us. All of a sudden he's saying, Coach Kramer, I want to be a part of your program. All of a sudden I'm going, wow. So a byproduct of an 8-4 season really will be a kid like Ty Flanagan, who comes out of a Mojave High School in North Las Vegas, who he can do it all. He can play defense, offense, he can return kicks. He's a weightlifting dog. He's going to, I don't know if he'll be a factor because our running back core goes way deep next fall. But if he can, well, we're going to be that much better. And then, of course, Chris Scooby Reynolds, Jr. I knew his dad when his dad was in high school, Lakes High School in Tacoma in the early 90s when I was recruiting at Eastern Washington. His dad was an outstanding high school receiver at Lakes. Scooby actually grew up in Boise the last 6 or 7 years. He grew up like 6 or 7 years in Boise and was probably going to end up at either Rocky Mountain or Mountain View High School. And he ends up going to Foss High School in Tacoma, and he plays safety and wide receiver. He's 6'3", 195. He's got tremendous long arms. He's got great leaping ability. He plays on a very good basketball team. He was a very productive player as a safety. And when we started recruiting him with the concept that, well, maybe we're going to recruit him as a defensive back. Well, you look at his offensive skill set, and you look at how well he plays basketball, and we're spoiled now. Have you seen Madison Mangum play? Have you seen our tall guys play? We want to jump for the ball for the rest of my career here. Our wide receivers will continue to be statuesque. We go back to the days of Akila Lacey here in the early part of the last decade to Madison Mangum now. The receiving core at ISU now is going to be lengthy, and Scooby Reynolds will be one of the first guys to prove that. We have 4 on-campus walk-on guys right now that are ticketed for aid next season. and I'll talk about those guys when I get done at spring ball. But 2 of those guys have already received their aid, and I won't talk about them until we get done with spring practice, because there might even more guys that come out of spring ball with awards for next year. We actually have money on reserve for a couple other walk-on guys that are playing. But I don't think you'll be surprised when you find out the name of the 4 guys who have accepted aid in lieu of recruiting any more guys to this list. Plus, we have 4 outstanding scholarship offers out right now. I just don't have the signatures at this time. Plus, we're down the road recruiting a couple other guys to make sure that we round out our team and give ourselves the best opportunity to be as good as we can be. We start the season next year with Black Hill State, and then we play at home again, and then we play 5 out of the next 6 on the road. And then we come back after a bye and we swing hard at Montana State, and Weber State to end the season. An offense that returns 10 starters, the bulk of its depth, the most prolific running back we've had for quite a while, one of the best core of wide receivers, including a singular Madison Mangum. We're ticketed for greatness on offense. The problem is defensively, we're not as physical in our front as we have been, as we need to be. We've taken the model by which we grew our offensive line, which was to play young guys early. A couple years ago when we played 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and a junior, we morphed that into one of the best offensive fronts in the Big Sky. We'll do the same thing now defensively. We'll take some junior college guys that have some opportunities to play, some young true freshmen who will play quite a bit next year in backup roles, and then redshirt some of the younger guys freshman-wise, so that defensively years from now, as we're building one of the best defenses in the nation, you'll have been in on the ground floor.